that because they were scared. They were scared. The pressure from the street, from the people, was growing so tremendously. They had to do something. Yeah. That is the total tell and the total giveaway. They shitted their pants so badly, you know.
I'm here with the one and only Christine Anderson here in Quebec. This is the final day of your tour.
Yes, it is.
You shared a very powerful story up there tonight, and that was about how you conquered your fear in a way. That has to do with, you had an accident that had to do with a truck, and you were inside of a truck to celebrate the trucker convoy. Now, I want to see more bravery like that from Canadian politicians. So as a politician who does speak out and be brave, you know, where does that come from for you? Has that strength, has that courage always been there?
Yeah, I've always kind of been like that, and my parents and teachers will absolutely attest to that. I've always been kind of a pain in the neck for everyone. But like I said, I just always felt if someone told me something that I did not believe to be true, I always felt the need to speak up against that and, you know, have a debate. And up until a few years ago, it was actually possible to debate things. And it wasn't like that. Now we are at the situation that it's no longer based on the merit of the argument. It's immediately good or bad. And therefore, the good person and the bad person. And so they're shutting down debate. And, a lot of people have tried to shut me down. And like I said, my teachers tried to no avail. And I don't see it happening in the near future that anyone will be able to shut me up. And I do realize that's what kind of happened today, or what they're trying to do. Well, it's not working, sorry.
Yeah. And what you said is very simple. You will not define me. You will not put a label on me. You don't even know me.
Exactly.
And I wish more politicians had that sort of courage and had that sort of voice. I don't know what German politics is like in Germany, but you've probably seen a lot, maybe not a lot, but you've seen bits and pieces of what's been happening in Canada and Canadian politics. Even the leader of our opposition party, the cowardice is disgusting, needless to say. Have you experienced a lot of cowardice in your experience being a politician? And more importantly, how do you deal with that? How do you try to push a politician to be more courageous? Or is it a lost cause if they kind of shown that they're a cowardly lion, as it were?
Well, I guess I just try to lead by example. And yes, I've seen a lot of cowardice, even though I'm not quite sure if it's just cowardice or if it's just opportunistic, trying to secure that mandate, not stepping on anyone's toes. Right. But I mean, as I said before, I want to be elected for who I am and not for who I pretend to be, because that's gotten us in this mess we are in right now. But I mean, it's not only happening in Canada; it's happening all over the place, and especially in the Western democracies. Yes. And the reason I always stress the Western democracies to such an extent is simply, I mean, I don't expect freedom, democracy, and the rule of law in China. I don't expect it in North Korea. I mean, these are totalitarian regimes, for God's sakes, you know. Yeah. But I do hold the Western democracies to a higher standard. Yes. But we are going exactly in that direction. And just looking at, their attempts now to push digital ID, I mean, it's not for your convenience. It's not so your life is better in any way. No, look to China. That's where you will see our immediate future, right there. Digital ID is all about controlling people. And as Vera Sharif just said the other day in a very powerful video message, she is a Holocaust survivor. She said the future prisons will not be surrounded with electrified barbed wire fences. There is no need to. You will have a digital ID which will bar you from anywhere you want to go, but the government doesn't want you to go. So think about that. And if you really and truly believe that your government, if you still believe they're not out to get you, you need to do some rethinking, seriously. Yeah. They are out to get you, and they are doing it as we speak.
Absolutely. I forget who said the quote, but the quote is, goodwill is the goodwill of the people is always the alibi of tyrants.
Of course. Yeah. Yes, it's absolutely true. And it's like I said, this gaslighting going on, it's tremendous. And it's happening in every single Western democracy. And that is really actually the most scary part about all of this. Because if it was one or two countries going off the rails or going rogue, we could, of course, hope for some other country to eventually step in and say, well, that's it, put a stop to this. Yeah. But if they're all in lockstep, who's going to do it? Who is going to bail us out? Once again, it's not going to be China, for sure. No. It's not going to be them. No. So, Russia, it's not going to be Russia either. No. Let's be clear about that. So it's the people. We are on our own right now, and the people really need to get their act together and see what is coming, and they need to start fighting it now.
Yes.
Now is the time.
Absolutely. And I love how you look at it that way, that we are all in this. I know it's a cliche phrase, we're all in this together, but it is happening in every single country the exact same way, in lockstep. And when it comes to the 15-minute cities, that's being pushed here now in Canada. It's connected to the digital ID. All these op-eds are coming out in the media. Oh, you're not gonna be. And if you read into it, it's like, oh yeah, you'll get fined if you leave your section more than 100 times a year. How do we fight this?
Yeah, well, we fight this by continue to do what we have been doing, and especially what the Canadian truckers have been doing. Right. You do not comply. You just don't back down. You stand up and you defend your freedom. And when you think about it, don't slander it away. Our fathers and forefathers have fought for this. They have literally spilled their blood over this. So their children's children could enjoy freedom, democracy, and the rule of law. And now we are so obnoxious, so spoiled brats, especially in the Western democracies, taking it for granted. Mm-hmm. Once you start taking it for granted, it's gone. Trust me. And like I said, there is this saying, if you sleep in a democracy, you will have a very rude awakening in a tyranny. And that's where we're headed.
We have this Conservative Party. I know you don't want to talk about what has happened, and that's totally understandable.
Well, it's not that I don't want to talk about it. I just refuse to dignify that even with a response. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any sort of perspectives when it comes to cancel culture? Because it's, as you said, there is no debate anymore. That's just a bad person. Don't talk to that person. I really like your approach on I'm not even going to give that the decency. I also, in my own personal opinion, I think when people are defensive, when conservatives or nationalists or patriots are defensive, it kind of makes them look weak. And I saw that you didn't take that stance whatsoever when it came to addressing the nonsense that they accused you of. Is there any sort of tips or sort of mental frameworks that you can give the Canadians watching at home of how to kind of not ignore cancel culture, but realize this is just like a silly tactic that they're using to try to make you just shut up?
Well, very simple. Don't get canceled. So many people have tried to cancel me. Good luck with that. Seriously, they haven't succeeded up until now, and I am kind of tenacious when it comes to stuff like that, and I know I am a pain in the neck, and don't get canceled. Don't let them cancel you. Don't back down. Keep continuing to speak up. And eventually, you're seeing this now with all the pressure that have been applied to the people. They didn't do that because they were so thinking it was all going to go their way. They did that because they were scared. They were scared. The pressure from the street, from the people, was growing so tremendously. They had to do something. Yeah. And, this pushback against people violating fundamental rights in such an obvious and blatant way, that is the total tell and the total giveaway. They shitted their pants so badly, and that's the only thing they could think of, and that exposed them even more, actually. So, there is another saying in Germany, or someone said, actually, we cannot force them to tell the truth, but we can force them to lie even more blatantly and more obviously. And that's what we've kind of been doing.
Yeah. Finally, there's almost a synergy happening here with yourself from Germany kind of campaigning or at least holding our politician accountable. Do you see any of the other opportunities like that of kind of crossover in terms of trying to help other like-minded, whether you want to call it conservatives or like-minded politicians who are fighting this digital ID agenda? Do you think there's more opportunities for that in the future?
Yes, there has to be. And this is already in the works. I mean, there is international connections between different parliamentarians in the various countries. Yep. I met with Maxime Bernier last night and his colleagues, and it was really a wonderful evening. And I think Maxime Bernier actually made me an honorary member of the People's Party for Canada. Awesome. So yeah, that's a great honor. But there is many initiatives going in that direction, and there are parliamentarians all over the world in the different countries that are actually seeing what is going on and that are willing to speak up, and I will continue to work with them and network with them. But in the end, it will really be up to the people. While we can be the voice, but we need to be the voice of someone. Yes. So we need the people. And that's why I'm so grateful to the Freedom Truckers. I mean, I'm not a hero. I only resonated what they did. And had they not done anything, there would not have been anything for me to resonate, Yeah. So we need the people. But it starts with the people.
Yeah. And along those lines, we inspire each other.
Of course, absolutely.
You inspire us.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been an honor. I loved your speech tonight. Can I get a freedom hug?
Of course. Always. Thank you so much for having me. And you keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.